A very good Saturday morning. Thanks for clicking on to the US video for today. And certainly the US is gearing up for the busiest travel period of the entire year in the coming days as Thanksgiving quickly approaches. We've got several systems to speak about. We've also got plenty of weather to speak about as well. Cold, warm, and we've got a mixture of everything else in between that. We've seen a record high temperature of 94 degrees in Oklahoma during the course of yesterday afternoon. We also seen during yesterday afternoon the first measurable snow of the year for Caribou, Maine. So amazingly, how we've got parts of the south, including the North Georgia mountains, that have seen snow before Caribou in Maine this year. We've also got tornadoes to speak about. We've got severe weather to speak about. We've got a series of systems coming into the Pacific Northwest. So it is a busy spell of weather across the United States. So GFS, this is the surface precipitation. You can see here a fairly substantial area of low pressure. That is the very system that is keeping things cold to the north, warm to the south, and stormy in between here. And as we go through the next couple of days here, we're going to see that system progressing out, potentially bringing some snow on the backside as it moves through, but you notice the track extend inland, so it's going to be rain for the coastal cities here. And then, of course, as the system pushes out, then we've got that colder air coming in on the backside. That will bring lake effect snowfall. Could mount up to a foot or two across areas downwind of particularly so Lake Huron and Lake Ontario, Lake Erie as well. Water temperatures, of course, are pretty warm at this time of the year. And then we may get a few flurries mixing through the air across the I-95 corridor later on in the day tomorrow. That system clears out, big heavy snowfall across Ontario and Quebec. Then we've got the next feature coming into the Pacific Northwest here. And of course, like if you had the chance to read last night's post, parts of Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming have seen the greatest snow water equivalent for mid-November on record. But then we've got some parts of Colorado that haven't seen any snow at all. So quite the contrast in a fairly small area. And of course, like I say, we've got parts of the Northeast that have still to see some snow. Caribou, Maine, only seeing the first snow yesterday, and that is only 2 weeks away from the latest measurable snow for a season. As we continue to skip through here, the all-important travel days are quickly upon us. By this stage, Tuesday of next week here, of course, is the 23rd. Thanksgiving falls on, so 22nd will be an extremely busy day. 21st and 22nd really will be very busy travel days. Good thing is that it looks as if it's going to be relatively quiet across the majority of the country during the day on Tuesday and Wednesday here. We've got plenty of weather coming into the Pacific Northwest. We've got some snow downwind of the Great Lakes and into the northeastern half of the country as well. We've got some wet weather across Florida and extending up the Carolina coast here. And that system we need to watch here very carefully because it looks as if it kind of gains some strength as it lifts up the coast. We've got a secondary feature forming, as you can see here, and this is going to arrive potentially on Thanksgiving Day itself. So that hopefully will time in nicely with a lot of people not traveling, of course, during the day on Thursday itself. So Thursday being Thanksgiving, and we're going to see some wet weather lifting up the coast here, as you can see, according to the GFS. Now, the coldest air appears to remain generally to the north of the border here, so it looks as if the main low thickness values of 504 to 540 really generally remains to the north of the border here, so it doesn't look as if we're going to see an awful lot in the way of frozen precipitation. This area of low pressure lifts up the coast here, as you can see here. Could be a bit of a nor'easter type setup here. And then we've got the colder air coming in. Do the two meet and produce a snowstorm for the I-95? That looks more unlikely as the models, like I say, continue to keep the cold generally further north. But we may see some backside snow on the rear of this system as it exits and the cold air gets pulled in, but I don't think it's going to be a particularly big deal. And we've got a feature coming across the northern top of the country as well, so we're going to keep an eye on that as well. So looking not too bad for the period really from the 20th through the 22nd. Those are going to be the big days for travel, both by land and also of course by air. So it should hopefully be reasonable during those days in the run up to Thanksgiving this year. But do check out the written post later on this evening. I'll have more on the record high in Oklahoma and also, of course, the first snow in Caribou during the course of yesterday as well. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll be back again next week with more. Bye for now.